Mistakes. Don't make any mistakes, and they should do fine in this game.
I think there's a general buzz around the city, and I guess most people are still talking about that flare-up at the end, John. Was that the right decision for you, a yellow, not a red?
Yeah, I think so. You know, we know that Hutchinson's put in a couple of really strong challenges on Lua, and the nicest thing for me is, regardless of what the referee's decision was, the two players actually shook hands after it. Now, I know that doesn't mean much to many people, but, you know, we see so many nasty little horrible cynical things happen in the game that it was nice to see a little bit of sportsmanship between two players trying to kick chunks out of each other.
And there's no doubt that Forest in the second half can go on and win this game and make it 7 in a row.
Yeah, absolutely. If they continue the same as they did, or have as much of the ball as they did in the first half, no reason why they shouldn't. I'd just like to see maybe the full-backs get forward a little bit more. But Cohen and obviously Hutchinson have done well in the first half, but you know, we're used to Cohen breaking forward at nearly every opportunity. Let's see a little bit more of that in the second half, because Brighton do spread the players over the field. You know, they don't bunch in the middle, they spread them over, and sometimes you've got to try and go around them. But I think both managers will be satisfied in a sense after that first 45 minutes.
Thanks, John. John McGovern back with us for the second half here on Match Day from BBC Radio Nottingham. We're at a sold-out City ground at half-time. It's Forest 0, Brighton 0.
Colin Fray and John McGovern, your commentary team on BBC Radio Nottingham. Entertaining stuff then at the City ground at half-time. And the second half on the way with the guys very shortly. Elsewhere in the Championship at half-time, Charlton 1, Bolton 2. Ipswich lead Leeds by a goal to 0. Cardiff the leaders 1-0 up at Peterborough. Sheffield Wednesday and Barnsley goalless. Wolves 0, Middlesbrough 0. In the Premier League, Arsenal lead Reading by a goal to 0. Manchester City 2-0 up on Newcastle. Southampton 2-1 up on Chelsea. Earlier, Manchester United won at Sunderland by a goal to 0. Spurs win at Swansea 2-0. Or rather, lead at Swansea 2-0. West Ham lead West Brom by 2 goals to 0. And it's goalless between Wigan and Norwich. More details on all of those games to come in a moment. Let's confirm the half-time details from the Lamb, which is the name of the ground, not your reporter. Mansfield at Tamworth today. Charlie Slater.
I always thought I was more of a tiger anyway, Robin, but never mind. What a half of football we have had here at the Lamb Stadium. It's really been quite remarkable. Somehow it's still 0-0. But there have just been chances galore for both sides. Mansfield Town had the better of the first sort of 4 or 5 minutes, and in that time, both Lee Stevenson and John Dempster both had good efforts. Both of those, either one just went wide or was saved by Liam Mitchell, the young Notts County goalkeeper who's on loan here. And then up until probably the half-an-hour mark, maybe just a little bit after, it was all Tamworth. Lee Hendry, the former Aston Villa player and, of course, England international, has just looked a different class at times. You can see why he played at such a high level. It's just that touch that he's got. And there have been an absolute glut of chances for Tamworth in that time. Their top goal scorer and the second top goal scorer in the league, Cunnington, missed a couple of them. One of them a sitter. Darren Byfield also missed a sitter as well. But then Mansfield Town came back into it. More chances. Briscoe had one. Then Cunnington had one at the other end. Then there was a couple of absolutely manic goal line scrambles for Mansfield Town, where anybody could have turned the ball into the back of the net, but alas, no one did. Robin, how is this game 0-0 at half-time? Surely the second half can't stay that way.
Thank you, Charlie Slater. We'll let you know about it online, bbc.co.uk/Nottingham. The leaders of the conference, Kidderminster, are 1-0 down at half-time to Braintree Town at Agborough. Would you believe it? Kidderminster 0, Braintree 1. Elsewhere around the Stags, third place Wrexham losing at Hyde by a goal to 0. Newport in fourth, being held at home by Dartford. That's goalless. Grimsby in fifth, being held at home by Barrow. That is also goalless. What a day potentially it could be for Mansfield if they can go on to win that game at Tamworth. But none of the top 5 are winning at the moment. Let's get more details on the half-time picture in the Premier League. We'll start off at Eastlands. Manchester City trying to close the gap to Manchester United to 15 points again after United won earlier. They lead Newcastle at half-time. Dave Woods.
Manchester City 2, Newcastle 0. The goals came late, but they have been dominant for the whole 45 minutes. The first and the 40th minute, Clichy with the cross, Carlos Tevez at the far post, tucking it in. It rolled just past Rob Elliott on its way to Tevez. And then, a duty to stop his time, Sami Nasri, who has been in vibrant, bubbly form all afternoon, setting up with a wonderful little dribble on the edge of the area, on for David Silva, who finished with his left foot. Newcastle 1, one chance, a volley from the edge of the penalty area by Patrice Cisse. That was literally a bolt out of the blue, because it has been City all afternoon. 2-0, they lead Newcastle.
Next to the Emirates, Arsenal against Nigel Adkins, Reading, watching Mark Pugac.
Arsenal 1, Reading 0. Gervinho after 11 minutes, so he scored in successive Premier League games now. Good work from Giroud, set up Cazorla. His shot across goal, turned in by Gervinho from 5 yards. The Ivorian has been very bright and has gone close on a number of occasions. Cazorla has shot wide as well. Referee Foy and the assistant Simon Beck, though, inexplicably refusing an Arsenal penalty when Giroud, chasing a through ball, was clearly brought down by Taylor, the goalkeeper, who was nowhere near touching the ball, but for some reason no penalty given. Arsenal all the possession, but Reading have been very solid and have blocked many opportunities without actually threatening the Arsenal goal themselves. Arsenal 1, Reading 0 at half-time.
I mentioned that Chelsea losing at Southampton by 2-1. That might open things up a little bit for Tottenham in terms of chasing third place potentially, and they're winning at Swansea. Jonathan Overhead.